How's it hanging, Rasmanites? Well, I've been trying to post this particular episode since Friday, November the 19th, but unfortunately for me, I was apparently among the very last YouTubers to have his recent rash of upload issues fixed. You know, YouTube went through that period where the advanced video uploader wasn't working, and then there was a WMV codex problem. You know, everything just seemed to happen all at once. So I haven't been able to talk to you about this yet. So finally, today, on November 23rd, we can finally talk about Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, Part 1, my review, today, on the Razman's Reality. Wow. I mean, that is really all I can say about Deathly Hallows Part 1 is wow. Deathly Hallows, for those of you that don't know me personally, or didn't see my last year's Half-Blood Prince review, because if memory serves me, the original film review, not the Blu-ray review, that is. If memory serves, I said this then as well. But Deathly Hallows is my favorite book for two very, very simple reasons. Reason number one, perfect ending. There are things that happen in it that are sad, but that is the case with every Harry Potter book, or Potter story, whatever you want to call it. So, nothing about the Potter universe is going to be perfect and flawless. So, in my opinion, Deathly Hallows is a perfect ending, which we can't talk completely about because we're just talking about Part 1, the film, in this review. But that's reason number one, I love Deathly Hallows. And reason number two that I love Deathly Hallows is because it's such a good ending, because it brings such closure. You get such closure, you get so emotionally invested in the characters, in the story, that it evokes the most emotion out of you of anything Harry Potter in the entire universe, without question. I mean, if you're not reading this book, I've read this book 8 times, and if you're not reading this book and having your breath go away like every other sentence, then you're not a fan of great literature, and you're not a Harry Potter fan. Simple as that. That's how much emotion the story of Deathly Hallows will bring out of you. So how did the first part of the film adaptation of this great book go? Like I said, just absolutely wow. Because there is so much accuracy, it's ridiculous. I mean, I literally felt like I was watching the book. There are a few things that they left out, which we will cover. But for the most part, this is by far, and I don't think any Harry Potter fan in the world would dispute this, although me putting that out there in this review probably means that I'll get about 10,000 comments down below of people disputing that and saying, what about this, and this, in this other movie, and things like that, out of the other 6. But in my opinion, and the opinion of most reviews that I've been able to see on YouTube, and just because I haven't been able to upload doesn't mean I haven't been able to see other reviews. And the opinion of most of the Harry Potter universe seems to uniformly be that Deathly Hallows Part 1 is the most accurate film to date. I mean, they left so much in, and the reasons that they gave for splitting this story in two about wanting to be extremely accurate to the finale were absolutely true. I mean, David Yates, this is a complete love letter to the book. the things that weren't in the film that are in this first half of the book that really bothered me were very few, far between, and I'll get into them right now. First of all, why was Wormtail alive? Wormtail isn't dead. They killed off all of the good wizards and witches that got killed in the first part of this story, but they didn't kill off the one Death Eater. So maybe they've written a scene for part 2 where they feel like his death will be more impactful. I don't exactly understand that. But yeah, Wormtail was still alive, so I didn't like that. By the way, I should have mentioned this in the very start, but this review is fully intended for people that have read the book or seen the film. So if you do not want spoilers, please come back and watch this review at another point in time. I apologize for not mentioning it at the start. I just wanted to jump right into this because I had to wait so long to talk about it. But yeah, problem number one that was in the book that wasn't in the film is Wormtail's alive. The second thing that I really, really didn't like was the fact that there was no showing of Harry and Dudley's relationship progressing. The scene in the beginning of the book when Dudley's talking to Harry, and while he doesn't make a complete change in character, he makes a complete change in character when it comes to Harry. Because in the book, he's saying to Harry, I don't think you're an idiot, because the rest of the Dursleys are just kind of weary about leaving Privet Drive, and they're saying, why do we have to leave? Why should we believe you? You're a jerk. You're an idiot. All the typical stuff that they've been saying to Harry for 7 years. Or 6 years at the time of the book. That will be 7 by the end. And they're saying it at the beginning of Deathly Hallows. And Dudley turns to Harry and he says, I don't think you're an idiot. You saved my life. And of course he's making reference to the Dementor attack in Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, when Harry saved him from Dementors. It took him 2 books to admit that that actually happened, but he does admit it, and it's a very powerful scene, and it was omitted from the film. In the film, you see just Vernon Dursley actually saying to Dudley that Dudley says to Vernon, why do we have to leave here? And Vernon says, because it's not safe. And that's all that you get from the Dursleys. There's not even a mention of the reason why Harry is back at the Dursleys and why he has to be back at the Dursleys every year, which of course is Lily's protection spell. So I didn't like that because I thought that that was a very important part to the beginning of the book that wasn't there. But then again, they did only have 2.5 hours on screen, and they were having to tell the second half of the book as well. So I guess I can understand why some of those tough decisions had to be made. And the other thing that was blatantly left out, really, that I noticed. Now, there might be other things, and like I said, if I get a lot of Harry Potter fans viewing this review, I'm probably going to get, what about this? You forgot about this, 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 and this. But you got to remember that it's been a few days since I've seen it filmed. So the other omission that jumps out at me at the time of this filming is that there was no mention of Tonks being pregnant with Lupin's baby. The scene with Lupin where he's freaking out on Harry and Harry gets mad at him saying, where Lupin says, I don't want to be a dad, I'm running away. All that powerful scene is not in the film. So that was an omission that really bothered me and I didn't like. Other than that, there just isn't any complaints about this film. It was so accurate and so emotional and so well acted, especially by the trio. Daniel Radcliffe as Harry, Rupert Grint as Ron, and Emma Watson as Hermione have grown so much over the course of this entire series, and this final film is like their swan song. I know for some of them, maybe even all three of them, it won't be the last movie they ever make. But this is definitely a swan song love letter to this franchise that made them famous, because they are so good in this film. And as far as the additions that they made to part one that weren't in the book, I loved every single one of them. There wasn't a single one that I thought, well, that's completely stupid and it doesn't work. Dobby being at Grimmauld Place when he wasn't supposed to be, I didn't have a problem with that, meaning that he came in with Creature after Creature gets Mundungus, and he talks about the locket. By the way, that story was shortened down a bit and wasn't really aired. The whole RAB reaction, I think the reaction to RAB being Sirius's brother could have been better. That's another one I just remembered as I was talking about the Mundungus change. But, you know, Dobby being there for the Mundungus thing, I didn't really mind. I enjoyed it because Dobby is supposed to have been in the last three films, and you're seeing him killed off in this film. And so for them to want to add more Dobby to give the audience a good feel, I didn't have a problem with that. The piano scene between Ron and Hermione in Grimmauld Place, I thought was really cute and really cool, and furthers their relationship. You know, just shows how it's slowly progressing. And then after Ron leaves, Harry and Hermione has his fit from wearing the locket Horcrux around his neck. And Hermione's all upset, and Harry takes her and dances with her. And it's just so cool. It doesn't last very long. You know, she goes right back to being sad and depressed and heartbroken, but I loved it. I thought it was a beautiful addition and really showed that even though Harry and Hermione aren't romantic, nor should they have been, once we saw the stories go on, it does show, just as the scene on the stairs and Half-Blood Prince showed. It's the filmmaker's way of showing us that Harry and Hermione do love each other. And just because they're not in love with each other romantically doesn't mean they don't love each other. And I just absolutely love the scene for that reason. And like I said, throughout and the last edition that I have to talk about was Bellatrix writing Mudblood on Hermione's arm in blood during the attack scene in the Malfoy's house. I absolutely love that. That was so good and so well done. And the accuracies to the book, I'm going to run long here, I know, if I keep talking, but I just have to talk about how accurate it was to the book, and the right scenes evoked emotion out of you. That scene that I just talked about with Bellatrix's attack on Hermione in the Malfoy house. The betrayal, quote unquote, of Mr. Lovegood. I forget his first name right now. I'm just having a brain fart. It'll be an overlay of love. But his betrayal was so well done, even though it wasn't really betrayal. And if you've read the book and I've seen the film, you know what I mean. But that was so well done. And when Ron goes to destroy the Horcrux, that scene was right out of the book. Harry finding the Sword of Gryffindor, and then Ron going to destroy the Horcrux. It was so good, and the visuals they use, because in the book it's very short, and it doesn't really go into it too much because it leaves it to your imagination as a reader as far as what Ron is seeing in this Horcrux. But the visuals that they use, showing Harry and Hermione making out and just and being bare-skinned and absolutely torturing poor Ron, it was so good and so well done. And just there's nothing bad I can say about this film. I could go on for days, but I'm not going to do a two-part. This is reality according to the Razman. And Razman style is not just a catchphrase, but a way of life.